start seated today on our block, stroke book, stroke bath towel, stroke anything else. And just taking an easy posture to sit and settle. Let the blood start to move around the body easily. Open the groins out a little bit. Lengthen the spine. Just wriggle around in that pelvis. And then letting yourself find to close your eyes. And sitting tall. Just a couple of moments of steadiness. Letting us focus in on how we feel. We're going to slowly untangle the legs and then just fold them in the opposite way. Just to give the hips a little bit of practice, getting sitting differently. Whilst we're doing that, I'm going to take the hands forwards and just bear down a little bit of weight through the wrists. It's called cat's paws, so we're going to spread the fingers out. We'll turn the fingers then to the side, so the thumbs are forwards. Giving a little bit of a stretch into the forearms, into the wrists. And we'll slowly turn the hands so the fingers face in and the heel of the hand is on the ground. So it might be directly underneath, but if you can take the hands a little bit forwards, you increase the angle through the wrists and the forearms, still keeping those heel of the hand connected, then that would be good. This is generally in people's bodies quite a strong sensation down the forearms. I think for regular yoga practitioners, this is also the same because of all the down dogs and half planks and up dogs that we do. It takes its toll on the wrists and the forearms, so it's good to give them a bit of a treat every now and again, although that might not be your idea of a treat. You draw the belly in and just allow the wrists to have a little bit of rotation. So just interlacing the fingers, Rolling the hands around a little bit. I'm going to move from here, untangle the legs, and come into hero's pose. So I'm going to just take that as a sitting on the heels version. So it's not strictly hero's pose, but it's pretty close. And we'll just take the arms out wide and fold the left arm across the chest. It's a surface stretch, so the right arm comes underneath. We'll just draw that shoulder around a little bit whilst we breathe a bit more into the shoulders. And we'll release. Cross it over the opposite way. Now I'm going to release from there, take the hands forwards and come up onto the toes, tucked under position. So just allowing ourselves to get a little bit of stretch through the foot. Whilst we're doing that, I'm going to take my mind off of the feelings in my toes by just untangling my strap ready. Last breath in. Lean forwards again, untap the toes so we sit back down. I'm going to take my buckle into one fist and just wrap that around a couple of times. And then take the strap above the head. You're going to make a sort of a Y shape with the arms, and we're going to slowly drop the strap behind. So you've got the opportunity to thread the strap through the hand, either inwards or outwards, depending on what you need. And then we'll bring that strap back in front of the body, just drawing the strap out a little bit, so using a little bit of strength in the shoulders to pull the strap and keep it in tension. And then folding it back again. Inhaling up. So nice squeeze through the shoulder blades. And then we're going to take a little rotation here. So we're going to take a little breath, allow the right arm to come down. Take the left hand over, and then float the strap across the front and back down. So left hand comes up to the front, the right arm lifts over to the left, and rolling round. So if you do this quick enough, you can actually make a draft. But we want to take our time, see how the shoulders feel, try and keep those arms straightish. I wouldn't say locked in the elbows, but pretty close to being straight. We'll just take it a few times in the opposite direction. And then we'll let that release. Take the strap out to one side. Lift our bodies up gently. Take the palms into the base of the spine. So squeeze the elbows back. Lift the chest up towards the sky. Keeping the chin a little in towards the chest, or just lengthening the neck out, following the arch of the spine, pressing the shins down into the floor and the belly drawn in. Breath is very much in the chest. One more breath. And as you exhale, let the body come upright. Allow yourself to sit gently back down onto the heels. Bring the hands onto the floor. Bring ourselves into a nice tabletop position. Drawing the chest forwards, begin cat-cow. So just stretching out gently, seeing how the spine feels. So we're taking time to keep the knuckles attached to the ground. Fingers have got a little bit of a spread going on. Middle finger is almost pointing forwards. Might flare out a little bit or inwards. Might even have one hand slightly different to the other, as long as it feels comfortable and stable. We'll come back into a neutral position with the spine and come into a melted heart. So we'll take the hands a little wider than the shoulders. Keep the hips directly over the knees. The hands go forwards enough so you can get a straight line between the hands, shoulders and the hips. You draw the belly in a little bit and keep pressing into the hands. So you're supporting the shoulders with the muscles rather than sitting in the joints. We use the fingers to just push ourselves back a little bit so the hips move towards the back of the mat, and then it's easier to bring ourselves up onto all fours. We're going to sit gently back down onto those heels. And take the knees a little wider and let ourselves come down into child's pose. Just taking the hands out in front. Stretching the fingertips away, lifting the elbows from the floor. Drawing the belly in, tailbone away to the back of the mat. Again, drawing the shoulders around the ears a little bit as we lengthen. Still trying to keep the shoulders relaxed as we do so. Now take a look towards the front of the mat. Bring the hands gently back. Coming up to down dog. So we'll tuck the toes underneath and ease the knees away from the floor and then step ourselves into our normal sort of position for down dog. Normal to us. You can walk the legs out or keep the legs straight. You can bend the knees a lot, work into the back. Whatever feels a little bit tight. Kind of use your instincts just to work out what you need to move and what you need to hold. Now we're going to come into a regular down dog and then take the feet wide as the mat. Walk the feet forward so the heels come to the ground, and we're going to take the twisted version of down dog. So we'll take the left hand away and out to the right ankle, turning the body underneath. Walking towards two straight legs. One more breath. Bring the hands to the floor again. One breath in. Exhale across to the opposite side. And then we'll bring the hands to the floor again. We'll move back into down dog. Take a little breath. And walk the hands towards the toes into a forward fold. And just make sure the feet are hip distance apart, parallel. And soften the knees a little bit so that you can get your ribs onto the thighs. Let the head hang. Now we are trying to lift the hips up, but at the same time we want the ribs and the thighs to connect. So there's a bit of a discussion in the body about where you can move to and from. I try to keep the feet evenly weighted into the floor. So I know when I take this pose, I tend to roll into that outside edge of the foot. I have to make a little bit more effort to connect big toe to the ground. Now I'm going to soften the knees quite a bit and ragdoll out. So we're going to just rest the ribs on the thighs for a moment. Let the hands kind of drag down like gorillas, arms and knuckles on the ground. And then exhale slowly out, keeping the shoulders and the head bowed down, drawing the belly in and lifting up. We'll take the hands out wide, up to the sky, into the heart, hinge over. Take a little breath down here. And the hands under the hips. And it's time to flatter back. The soft knees to lift up. We'll do that one more time. Hands to the hips. We'll lift. Now we're going to take the hands high. And then we'll draw the hands down towards the sides of the bodies and interlace the hands behind, fingers to the floor. So opening the chest up a little again, letting ourselves come into a bit of a back bend as we draw the hands down. So if we can bring the heel of the hand together whilst keeping the fingers interlaced. Now I'm going to slowly hinge forwards over the thighs and let the hands lift towards the sky. If the heel of the hands can't stay together, that's okay, you can separate. Last breath in. Going to keep the hands in position, but lengthen ourselves up, soften the knees a little bit, and then release. So we should have felt quite a big stretch through the arms on that one. And we'll shake out the offending articles a little bit. Oops, that's there. And from the front of the mat, we're just going to take some gentle twists. So we're going to let the knees bend, get a little bit of movement through the feet, choose where the head turns with that swing, whether you keep your eyes just facing forwards. Your choice. Breathing nice and slowly, keeping the soft knees, that little bend. And slowing it down even further. And coming back to the center. And the feet back in a little bit. Hands to the sky as we breathe in. We'll come into chair pose, so hands into the heart. Soften down gently. Take a little breath and lengthen the arms out in front, above the shoulders. Take another breath in, bring the hands in towards the heart. Now we're going to hinge forwards so that legs can open up and then bow down to the floor. Going to take a little breath from here and take the right foot to the back of the mat into a big lunge. Going to let the back knee down onto the floor. Make sure your right hand is completely flat to the ground. And then we'll slowly take that left hand forwards and up towards the sky into a twist. Draw the knee in towards the body a little bit. And I'm going to bring the hand back down. We're going to bring the hand on the inside of the front leg. I'm going to take that right hand up towards the sky. Now you need to press the arm and the leg together a little bit. This is not the easiest pose in the world. Have been known to fall out more than once. Bring the hand back down to the floor. Take both hands either side of the front foot, tuck the toe on the back, lift the knee, drop the heel in ready for warrior two. We can bring the hand onto the front thigh or alongside the hips if you wish. We're going to open up into warrior two. Just checking your front knee is over your ankle. Back foot is nicely anchored and pressing down. Hands are pretty much in line with the shoulders. Chest is opening up. Make sure to turn the palms of both hands up towards the sky. I'm going to drop into that front hip and lengthen forwards, following the line of the back leg. The front arm just braces in towards the front thigh. We'll take the top arm up towards the sky. Lengthen that out across the face, down towards the floor into that big windmill action. Last time coming around. As the hand comes towards the back of the mat, we'll lift up into warrior two. Float the arms overhead as we do so, and bring the hands back down to the floor. I'm going to spin the the front foot out to the side a little bit as you lower the back knee. Allow yourself to roll onto the side of the foot. So we're coming into lizard with the knee out to the side, and we're just taking a little twist. Now normally we do this with the foot a little bit further over to the side of the mat. This is a little bit more into the center, so it's going to feel a little bit different in the hips and balance-wise. But it does make it easier to rotate the chest around, so there's some pluses, as well as it feeling you. Bring the hands back down to the floor, spin the front foot. Both hands come to the ground, lift up onto the fingertips. Going to draw the back knee away from the floor. Take a little breath, and we'll see if we can step the right foot towards the outside of the right hand and drop the bottom down low, and then ragdoll out from there. So quite a wide base and off center from the mat. We'll bring ourselves back into the center of the mat, just stepping it in. Inhale, hands high. Hands in towards the heart. Soften the knees into the chair pose. Let the hands lengthen out. Bring the hands back in towards the heart. It's the flow forward, so the legs open out. You soften the weight through the toes evenly, folding down. Take a little breath from here. We take the left foot back. into the lunge and let the back knee down onto the floor. Left hand onto the ground, right arm lifts up. Squeeze the knee in towards the thigh a little bit. The hand comes down, and we take it onto the inside of the front foot. Take a little breath. Slowly take that left hand up. Turn the body open. Press the thigh and the arm together for balance. One more breath. Exhale the hands down to the floor. Bring the hands either side of the front foot, tuck the toe on the back foot to lift the knee, and then bring the heel into the ground, ready for warrior two. Hands onto the thighs, we'll just lengthen the hands alongside the body, and cartwheel open into our warrior two. Set ourselves up. Turn the palms of both hands towards the sky. Feels different through the shoulders. A little more opening taking place in the body. And slowly come into the extended side angle. So reaching through, taking that top hand up towards the sky. 5 big circles. Moving with a breath. Keeping the ribs rolling up towards the sky, so the chest stays flat to the side. And come back up to warrior two. Float the arms high. Bring the hands back down to the floor. Let the back knee come down onto the ground. Spin the front foot out just to the side. Let the knee hang out. The foot is a little flexed. Then the hand comes onto the inside into that twist. Now bring the hands down to the floor again. We spin the front foot so the toes are pointing forwards. Both hands on the floor. We come up onto the fingertips as we lift the back knee. And remember, we're stepping the left foot, the outside of the left hand, keeping the bottom low in a squat position. Sitting back, and then ragdoll gently back out. And step ourselves back onto the center line of the mat. Inhale high. Hands into the heart. Soften the knees into our chair. Take a little breath. I'm going to zigzag the toes together, so big toes touch. Sit down a little deeper. Sit down a little deeper. Weight is very much coming into the heels at this point. I'm going to take the left elbow into that revolved position. Now, keeping the eyes on the floor helps with balance. Taking the eyes to the side or up takes it up different levels. And trying to lengthen the body out of the pelvis. You'll find that that helps make it easier to draw the belly in. And then that helps with the twist in the spine. Last breath here. We'll lift that back up to the center. Allow the legs to open up. Take the hands to the side of the body. Inhale the hands above the shoulders and take it into a little back bend. Hands come back into the heart. We'll sink into the knees. Sit back down into our chair. Exhale a little bit lower. Exhale a little lower. Take that revolved right elbow across. Heel and hands press together. Draw the chest forwards. Breathe. Come back to the center. Straightening the legs. And the hands high to the sky. Into that little back bend. And hands come back into the heart. Just shake out the legs and the feet a little bit. And then let the hands come in towards the heart. We'll bow down to the floor again. Taking a little breath. I'm going to take the right foot to the back of the mat. The right hand comes to the floor. Left hand goes forwards. We rotate into the twist. Keeping the back heel towards the sky and the knee drawn in towards the center line. And bring the hands down. So that hand comes on the inside. Right hand slowly lifts up. You need to take it gently into the twist to the opposite side. Allow the head to turn gently to the side as you arrive. So if you thought the one with the knee on the floor challenge your balance, this will be more. Bring the hands back gently down to the floor. Take the hands either side to frame the front foot. Warrior two, bring the hands alongside the body. Allow ourselves to lift up. And extend forwards. Going to bring the front hand onto the inside of the foot. Going to wrap the top arm around to bring the hand down the side of the thigh. Now you might be staying there, or if you can take it a little bit further, you're going to take the bottom hand underneath into the bind. And we release, come back up into warrior two, so it's pretty strong on that front leg. We'll take a reverse warrior. Back into warrior two. On the inhale, float the arms high. Rotate and bring them down to the floor. Take a little breath. You just spin the back heel. And we take the foot to the outside of that right hand. Squat down a little. And then go gently back up. Step ourselves back onto the center. Hands high. Into the heart. Soften the knees. Take a little breath. Exhale forwards and down. Left foot back. Left hand to the floor. Left hand lifts into the twist. Sorry, right hand lifts into the twist. Too many hands there. This is a closed twist. Try and keep the heel on the back foot pointing towards the ceiling. The reason you're doing that and focusing on it is it's prepping it for the opposite side where there's a little bit of a tendency for it to roll out to the side. Bring the hand down onto the inside of the foot. Take your time. Shift the balance slowly through the body. Bring the hand towards the hip. Allow yourself to open up to the second side. Keep pressing out through that back heel. And the head turns slowly to follow the heart. Looks easy from the outside, pretty difficult on the inside. Bring the hands back down to the floor, frame the front foot. Drop the heel in ready for warrior two. hands alongside the body, lift up to open. Take a little breath. Extend out. Forearm onto the front thigh. Back hand comes round towards the hip and then down a little bit towards the middle of the thigh. And bring the hand to the floor. Stay here if this is where you find enough of a challenge. But if you want to go further, take the bottom hand away and lock into the bind. Now, you don't actually have to do this on both sides. You might find that you can do it on one side relatively comfortably and confidently. The body might just still be waiting to open up on the second side. Release. Come back into the warrior two. Turn palm on the front hand for reverse warrior. Come into warrior two. Inhale the hands high. We'll rotate the body down to the floor. Take a little breath. Step the foot to the outside of the hand into the squat. Raise the back. Step it into the center line. Inhale high. Hands into the heart. Exhale down and over. Flat back. We'll come up onto the fingertips. Draw the chest forward. Fold it in again. As we exhale. Come up onto the fingertips again. Chest forwards, tailbone back, fold it in. One more time. And we'll step it back into a plank. Now we're going to let the knees come to the floor and let ourselves come down onto our bellies. And I'm going to turn to my right side, and my strap is on my right side as well. Extend the left hand out underneath and down the center line of the mat. So my hand is away in front. My hips are stacked on the center line. Toes are pressing away a little bit. Now the front hand is just here for a little bit of support so that I don't roll over too much. And you can let the head rest down onto that forearm a little bit. So just lengthening out through the feet and spreading the toes enough so that the leg muscles are engaged. So you get that little bit of a lift of the muscles around the hip bone, and you, rather than being supported by the flesh and the muscles, you're just sort of rocking around a little bit more on the pointy bit of the hip. Just a bit more of a challenge, really. So now we're giving that armpit and side of the body a little bit of a chance to open up. We're going to bring the hand back in and just place it around the back of the ear, cupping the back of the head. So nice relaxed position. Now the strap is there to take around the foot if you're not able to reach your big toe. So the first thing we're going to do is slide the top foot in towards the groin with the knee high. Take the hand from the floor and bring the heel into the groin. If you're able to hold on to that ankle, great. Keeping the knee high. We're still trying to lengthen out through the bottom leg a little bit and spread the toes. So we're stacking the hips rather than letting the hips roll over towards the back or the front of the mat. Now at this point, you're probably working out that you can either reach your big toe or not. If you can't, you're going to take the strap and just make a very simple loop around the foot, and then hold the strap very close towards the foot itself. As we extend the leg out, you'll be able to let the strap slide through the hands to get yourself to the place you want to be. Now, take a little breath from here. If you're able to take hold of the big toes, you just flex your foot a little bit. Draw the knee in towards the armpit and allow yourself to get a nice little purchase there. You want to keep the head looking to the side of the mat. If you look down towards your toes, you tend to round your spine and that just throws your balance out. So I'm going to hold here for a little while, either thumb around big toe or strap around sole of the foot. I want that top shoulder to be fairly relaxed. And then the next exhale, we're going to start to take the foot gently towards the sky without letting the legs kind of move around too much. I point the heel towards the ceiling, flex the foot a little bit, and we're looking for a straight leg, which is where the strap might come in handy. Again, we're trying to be careful to keep the hips stacked so we don't roll out too much. If you could imagine that there was a wall directly behind you, you'd want both cheeks touching the wall rather than just the top one. If you're finding it tricky on balance, you can always bend the bottom knee a little bit and sort of increase the foundational support that you have. And then we'll release that foot gently, so a little bend. Bring it down slowly. Try not to roll out. And then lengthen the legs away. Now, you could just roll onto the second side. I'm going to take the opportunity of changing ends, just so I can keep an eye on the clock. And obviously you guys as well. So slowly take ourselves into that position where we lengthen the arm out. Again, the hand is in front a little bit, the head sinks down on top of the arms, the legs just lengthen away a little bit, toes spreading. So the whole of the muscle sections of the legs are working, engaged, with a little bit of clenching of the cheeks. The belly's just drawn in a little bit to help with balance. And then we'll bring that hand gently underneath the back of the head, the ear, keeping the eyes looking to the side of the mat. Take a little time for that armpit, shoulder to sink to the floor. And then when you're ready, you're going to slide the top leg, knee towards the sky, heel in towards the groin, and see how that hip, knee, ankle, balance, combination of things feel. I always know that when I do this side, that there's a very high probability that I'm going to get cramp in my hip on this side. And it's probably, I'd say 4 times out of 5 that it happens. So if you're getting the same, as long as it's not too painful, just try and breathe through it. Don't know why it makes me giggle. Okay, so again, we're going to probably know whether we've got a chance of finding the foot. So draw the knee in towards the body a little bit, foot flexed, and take the fingers around the big toe. Also, we can start to get a little bit of an idea of whether we're going to be able to keep that bottom leg straight or need to bend the knee a little bit. If you're already rolling around a lot at this stage, then you would need to think about bending the knee a fraction. So plenty of time to get that strap in place if you're using it. A couple more breaths here. Thinking about keeping the hips square and stacked. And then we'll lengthen that leg out towards the sky. Gradually welcome it into a straight leg. You need to release the top shoulder a little bit, which can be tricky when you're trying to grip with your fingers around your big toe. A strong grip tends to lead to a strong shoulder. So see if you can connect your mind to the shoulder muscles and let them relax a little bit. That will help getting the leg lengthened out. I'm hoping that the leg will get straight. Now it may be 90 degrees above the hip, or it might be that the foot comes closer in towards the head. It's not a problem. Now, if you're able to get into a very straight leg, you can actually start to draw the hip down into the hip socket as you lengthen the heel up. Give about another 20 seconds or so. And then we can release that foot to the floor. Draw both knees in towards the body. Use the top hand to press away from the floor to come back up. Roll towards the front of my mat because I was at the back, but I'm going to come up onto all fours. Take a little breath here. Just wriggle out the hips a little from side to side. And then I'm going to take my right hand up towards the sky on the breath in. Thread that through and under and let the shoulder and ear come down to the floor. So just taking that into a little bit of a twist. And whilst I'm doing this, I'm going to press the shins into the ground a little bit and try and have the feet the same distance apart as your knees. And rotate the chest around gently. And we'll press into the floor to lift back up. Breath here. Inhale. Take the left hand high. Fold that under and through. It's the same deal. Head and shoulder to the floor. Press the shins into the ground a little bit. Rotating the chest round. And press into that bottom hand to lift ourselves back up slowly. Now you'll take a little down dog here, so tuck the toes underneath, lift ourselves back. So just letting the body realign itself after the last couple of poses. And then we'll bring the knees back down to the floor. And swing the feet out to the side. Allow the legs to come out at the front. Now we're going to take something called a half shoelace, which is really from the yin practice, but we're going to kind of develop on it a bit. So we'll just draw the flesh out from side to side. We'll take the left foot, cross that over, squeeze the thighs in a little bit and bring the foot as close towards the hip as I can. So I'm going to kind of shift myself over to the side of the mat a little bit so that I can keep this foot connected to the mat. It gives me a little bit more grip rather than sliding around on the floor. So I can bring that heel in closer and squeeze the thighs together and sit up nice and tall. So that's the leg side taken care of. We'll take the arms out wide as we sit up nice and tall. And as it's the left leg, we'll start with the left arm across and the right arm over the top and come into eagle arms. And then just drop the elbows in towards the chest this time and roll the shoulders back a little bit. Now the front foot remains a little flexed and toes pointing towards the sky. We're actually trying to press the sitting bones down into the floor and lift the hips away from the ground. They won't make a distance between the bottom of the bottom and the ground, obviously, but we're just trying to get that sense of lift and openness into the body through the spine. And then release. We'll take it to the second side. So as I shift it to one side a little bit, I'll shift across to the other and then bring the right foot across and just walk the foot in a little bit. You can see I'm using the hands a little bit to manipulate here. A bit of wriggling around as well. And then taking the arms out again, sitting up nice and tall. Right arm first, left arm over the top. Palms together, elbows into the chest, shoulders back. So trying to keep the spine very long. So there's a little bit of work maybe going in through the abdominals to try and keep the body aligned into that vertical rise that we're looking for. The reason for that is that in this version, I find that the pelvis rocks back a little bit. So having to actually try and tilt the pelvis forwards a little bit, keeping the belly engaged. And then we'll release out of that as well. Untangling the legs. And I'm going to come down onto the floor now and take bridge pose. I'm going to shift my block towards the back of the mat, off of the mat, just ready for Shavasana at some point today. We'll get to. And then make sure that the feet feel that they're about hip distance apart. They're slightly toes in, heels out position. And allow the hands to wriggle down towards the heels. Get the shoulders nicely underneath the body. And draw the lower back into the spine. Tilt the pelvis away from the floor and rise gently up towards the sky. Now we're going to take that reverse bind that we had earlier on in the class. So we're going to try and bring the fingers underneath the body and interlace and see if we can press the heel and the hand together. Now you do need to wrap your little finger underneath a little bit to do that, otherwise it gets rather painful on that joint. Otherwise, we're trying to press the forearms and the backs of the shoulders, the tricep heads into the ground. Chest lifts a little bit more in this version. You can draw the knees towards the front of the mat and lift the buttocks in the same direction. Try and maintain a nice even feel of pressure through the foot. So think of front, side, back. And we'll release and bring ourselves back down. As we arrive, I'm going to take my block underneath the back of the head, just because I find it easier and more comfortable. I'll zigzag the toes in towards the center line and bring them as close in as I can. I'll take the hands around the back of the right thigh and extend the right foot up towards the sky. Flexing the toes down towards the body, pressing out through the heel and drawing the hip and the pelvis down to the floor. Let's see if I can lengthen out the left leg. Down the center line. Flex that foot. Press out through the heel and then bringing the feet back in together. Swapping over to the second side. Interlacing the hands around the back of the hamstring. I'll lengthen out the leg. Remember, heel presses, hips draw down. And then we'll finally slide that right heel out. Flex that foot to two straight legs, hopefully. And then we'll release. Bring both feet back in. Take any extra layers. Just for that final Shavasana. And then if it feels good to take the hands out to the side a little. Slide the heels out to the corner edges of the mat. As the legs roll open, you can wriggle out the hips and the shoulders. Get a little bit more and lengthen the spine. Let those natural curves sink a little bit. Closing the eyes, relaxing down. Check that your shoulders are as relaxed as you can let them be. Remember, your neck comes into the equation with that as well. And we'll start to wriggle those fingers and toes. Let the wrists join in. Take a breath. Use it for a big stretch. Let the legs come in slowly. Just drawing the heels along the floor. And into a little hug. Stirring gently. We'll take a breath in and roll onto our right side as we exhale. Take a breath on the floor. And the next exhale used to gently press away from the ground to come back up to sitting. Taking a comfy posture. Bring the hands in towards the heart. So take a breath in. And on the exhale, we drop the chin. Let the belly draw in. A natural bow forms. Seals our practice for us. On the inhale, spine lifts with the breath until the head and the eyes lift and open. Namaste. Thank you very much for joining me. Hope you enjoyed my little antidote to getting a hunchback from working over computer screens all day. Should feel very open across this part of the chest. Have a good day. See you soon.